You ever notice how your phone never shuts up? Notifications, buzzes, red dots screaming for your attention until you finally give in. And then when you finally do give in, you scroll. And then you scroll some more through everyone else's story while yours just sits on pause waiting in the background. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. Distraction is the default. Everything around us is built to keep us moving, reacting, consuming. We call it multitasking, but really it's just missing out on everything else. But somewhere in that noise, God still has this quiet, stubborn way of getting our attention. There's this moment, one of the most cinematic scenes in all of Scripture, where a man named Moses is out in literally the middle of nowhere doing his day job. No spotlight, no title. He's just tending to sheep in the desert. He's walking a road he's walked 1,000 times before. He's a man who's lived in a palace. Now he's walking through sand and silence. And then something flickers in the corner of his eye. Just something over to the side catches his attention. He sees a bush that's on fire, but it's not burning up. Now, we don't know how long it had been burning. It could have been burning all day. It could have been burning for weeks. It wasn't the fire that was new. It was the moment that he noticed. Exodus 3 and 4, it says, when God saw that he turned aside to see, God called him to the middle of the bush, saying, Moses, Moses. And he said, here I am. That line, when God saw that he turned aside to see, that's the hinge on this entire story. See, God didn't shout first. He waited. He waited for awareness. He waited for Moses to stop long enough just to look. Now, the Hebrew word for turn aside is sur, and it means to leave the route or the route you're on, to step off the road, to shift direction. It's not silence. It's not stillness. It's awareness. That small sacred pause when something catches your attention and you choose to look closer instead of walking past. You see, Moses could have missed it. He could have walked right by the miracle because he had things to do. I mean, he had sheep to count and tend to, and he had plans to finish and responsibilities to keep up with. He could have stayed in his rhythm and called it faithfulness, but the miracle wasn't in the fire of the bush burning. It was in the focus. Like when Moses turned aside, heaven turned toward him. And that's where clarity begins for all of us. It's not that heaven isn't speaking, it's that we live too distracted to notice. Life doesn't actually move too fast, unlike what Ferris Bueller says. We live it unfocused. The problem has never been speed, it's been sight. Let me ask you, have you ever been driving down the road, the same road you take every single day, and you suddenly notice a building that just feels like it appeared overnight? I mean, I've done that before, and I've asked my wife, I'm like, did they build that like over the last couple of weeks? And, of course, she looks at me crazy and says, no, it's been there for months. It didn't just show up. I just finally saw it. And that's what turning aside does. It doesn't make something appear. It makes you aware of what's already there. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Just like that building. Now, every time you drive down that road, you're going to look straight at that building to make sure it hasn't changed anymore. Your eyes go straight to it. And that's how your purpose works. It's been under construction the whole time. But it's only when you notice it that you can't stop seeing it. It's like once you see your purpose, you can't unsee it. Awareness, well, that creates encounter. Divine intersections happen in those moments when heaven collides with your ordinary life and when the sacred sneaks into your schedule, when the eternal interrupts your everyday. That's where hope happens. See, when you turn aside, you don't just see the miraculous. You become part of it. And when you miss the miracles around you, the other people miss the miraculous in you. Because hope was never meant to be put into a corral. It was supposed to be spread like a virus. And the way you turn aside becomes the thing that someone else notices. Like the moment that makes them step off their path and look again. So you turning aside is actually you becoming the burning bush for someone else. You become that spark that helps someone else find their flame. I mean, just kind of think about this. Like Moses, if he hadn't turned aside, he would have walked right past the fire that would have one day been the spark that lit the entire nation to freedom. One man's awareness sparked generations of deliverance. If he'd stayed on his route, Israel might have stayed in Egypt. If he hadn't turned aside, well, hope might have stayed hidden. I've lived that. There's been moments when something glimmered in the corner of my life, and that peripheral sight turned into purpose. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. Like years ago, it was music. I absolutely love metal music, and of course, that caught my attention. And so most people will just write it off as noise, as lyrics you can't understand and people screaming at you. But I turned aside and I looked closer, and, well, that curiosity became a calling. And I ended up leading tours across the South that shared hope with thousands of hardcore scene kids that most churches, honestly, never noticed. They wrote them off. And just this weekend, like 12 or 15 years later, a kid came up to me, now grown up, and said to Jennifer and me, "Thank you. You changed my life. You saw me when no one else did. You were kind to me when no one else would be." See, that's what awareness can do. That starts a spark that can light someone else's future. And if you've never had a moment like that, a glimmer that pulled you off your path, let this be that moment. If you're watching this and you need a wake-up call, let this be your wake-up call. Maybe this is your burning bush. Maybe this is heaven's way of saying, hey, turn aside, look over here, stop being distracted. I'm right here. You don't have to wait for a sign. The fact that you're hearing this is the sign. So this week, turn aside. Notice the moments that glow. Then look again at your world, your people, your purpose. Let me give you some examples of what turning aside might look like. Putting your phone down when someone's trying to tell you something really important. Or choosing to actually listen instead of waiting for your turn to speak. It might look like checking on your quiet friend or someone you were done with and that you need to forgive. Maybe it's sitting in your car 30 seconds longer so that you can breathe before you rush into work. It's that split-second awareness that something sacred might be happening right here, right now. Because heaven doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just waits, burning quietly for you to finally notice. And when you do, something shifts. You stop drifting through your day and you start living it again. That's the power of awareness. It changes how you see. When your vision changes, your world follows. So make hope viral this week through small acts that do good. Everywhere. Always. And as always, if no one has told you lately, you're loved, you're cherished, and you matter. Now go change the world because I believe in you.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like